Today I'm going to talk about the new course I'm doing on herbalism.
Yes! Please subscribe!
Okay, today I want to tell you about this fantastic new course I'm doing, the herbalist course, and I want to tell you a bit about the supplementary reading that I've been doing. As you can see over here, there's a whole lot of books that I've been doing. Now, this course doesn't tell you how to make your medicine. So I've got this book. Now, this book will tell me how to make my medicine, plus a whole lot of other things, and it's a very, very nice book. So I'm looking forward to implementing all the things I learn and making my medicine. Now, the other book that I've got is this natural medicine. Now, this I bought back in the 90s when I was in South Africa. It's a South African family guide to natural medicine. Now, this book covers all sorts of different alternative medicines. It covers massage, yoga, tai chi, homeopathy, aromatherapy. It covers them all. Acupuncture, acupressure, herbalism as well. And it's quite an informative book, but what I like about this book best is it actually has little sort of ailments that you can have. Things like, if you've got kidney complaints, if you've got hay fever or neck pain, or it's quite a lot, and it'll tell you how these different alternative therapies, as well as the allopathic therapies, which is the normal sort of orthodox medicine today, would sort of cover it and how they would tackle it. It's got personalities and disease, sort of puberty and all sorts of things, schizophrenia, scorpion, stings, sexual problems, scarlet fever, scabies. It's got a whole host of different ailments and stuff that you can have, and it gives you some sort of self-help that you can do at home. And this is quite a valuable book. I've learned quite a lot about it, but then I want to introduce you to what I deem the best book, and this is the 7 Steps to Health. Now, this book a year ago took my diabetes right down into remission. I was off tablets for about a whole month, and it took me about 4 months to get there, and then suddenly things went pear-shaped, and I didn't quite know what was wrong. Now, that frightened me a bit, but that's why I'm doing this course, to find out more. But this book is packed with good information about what foods you can eat, what effects they have on the diseases, and why they're affecting the diseases. And it really gives you a good understanding of what is going on in your body, and all the foods, the modern foods that we're eating, and all sorts of stuff like this. So this is a book I'd highly recommend, and I'm hoping that by the time I'm finished here, I'll understand this book a bit better, because this book is a bit like a PhD all on its own. It is so well researched, it is so well referenced to up-to-date studies on foods and what is happening in your body, and about the diseases and how they form and why they form and stuff like this. It's an invaluable book, and like I say, it took my diabetes down, and I want to get back there, and I want to know what I did wrong. Now, it's probably in this book, but I'm just not quite getting it. And sometimes you need somebody to sort of step outside and say to you, tell it to you differently, and then you will understand. And that's what I'm about on here, about this course. But now, let me get down to this herbalist course. Now, this is a fantastic course. This course is offered by Natural Health School. I'll leave a link down the bottom here so that you can see if you want. This course is absolutely free, and when I looked at the curriculum it had, it was quite a good curriculum, and I was very, very happy with it. And I was actually surprised it was free, but you do get some altruistic people out there, and I think Professor Silverman is one of Dr. Silverman, is one of those people. And the purpose of this course, as he says, is to give you the tools that you'll need to make better decisions with regard to your health and the health of those that you care for. Now, this course that he's doing here, he doesn't explain what herbalism is. It's very well referenced. He's got a definition of herbalism, but you have to go into the definition, and he says it's the art and science concerned with herbs and their uses, particularly with regard to health-enhancing properties. Now, this sort of course will jump in. Now, I'm not going to be covering everything in detail, but this is just the introduction. It's a quite a well sort of researched and written course. Now he says, what is a herb? That's the first question that he jumps in, and he gives you two sort of definition. It's only the second one that we're worried about, and that's a herb is a plant or a plant part valued for its medicinal, savory or aromatic qualities. Now medicinal obviously means your medical health sort of thing. Savor is, you know, something that you'd put in food, and all these herbs have medicinal qualities that he's talking about, well, medicinal uses as well, and aromatic is the odor, and that is also with the medicinal uses, and that's a sort of study into aromatherapy. Now, most books that I've read, and this course is no exception, will quote a quote by Hippocrates, who's a father of modern medicine, and he says, "Let your food be your medicine, and let your medicine be your food." Now, that is a famous quote, but it really captures the essence of what this course is all about. And I quite like it. I think it's very appropriate. Now, there are claims made by herbalists and an increasing number of orthodox or allopathic medical practitioners that agree that herbs are safer than synthetic medicine. Now, not all of the allopathic or conventional sort of doctors agree with this, but there is an increasing number of them. Now, they make this assumption or statement based on the fact that every herb has thousands of naturally occurring chemicals. Now, the synergistic effect is not fully understood, but there is certainly a history of successful treatments that can vouch for the effect of these herbs on your health. Now, what makes this synergistic effect is what makes a herb safer than synthetic medicine. Now, to explain this, it would be best to take an example. Take St. John's wort. Now, that's a plant, a herb that is used quite a lot. Now, it has two what they call active ingredients, hypericin and hyperflorin. Now, both scientists and herbalists use these ingredients. Now, they are called active because these are the ones that they identify that actually work on something. The others they haven't identified at that. Now, what a pharmaceutical company will do is they will look at these two active ingredients, the hypericin and the hyperflorin, and they will synthetically copy that. And then they will concentrate it into one sort of capsule or pill or whatever the form that they're going to be delivering it. And this normally comes with a whole lot of side effects that they can't quite understand. Now, if you take your medicine, take any medicine that you want, pull out the pamphlet that's inside it, and you'll read a list of side effects. Now, herbs do have side effects, but they don't have so many. Now, they have side effects in so much as not every food agrees with everybody. But they say the synergistic effect of the chemical compounds inside the herbs in their natural state, safeguard anything that might be harmful to you. So unless you particularly disagree with that food, it's not really going to have any real serious side effects on you. And so, and their side effects are so much less and so less harmful than the chemical compounds that are manufactured by the pharmaceutical companies. Now, there is another argument that he puts on in the introduction about alternative medicine. Herbalism isn't an alternative medicine. It's a mainstream medicine, and the allopathic or the modern medicine is the alternative. But I'm really not interested in that sort of argument or debate because it's of real no importance to me. I want to put my efforts on what is best form of health care for me, both in terms of cost and overall effectiveness of wellness, because whatever you're doing, you have to be able to afford what you're doing. Now, most herbalists would agree that there is a cooperation between allopathic medicine and alternative medicines, especially herbalism. Now, they state the example like this. They would say, for example, if you had to be involved in a serious car accident and you were quite badly injured, you wouldn't want to be taken to a herbalist. You'd want to be taken to the accident and emergency where there are trained professionals, surgeons and stuff like this that can hurriedly stem the bleeding. They can repair the veins and the damage done to the tissue. They can sew you up. They have to set bones or whatever they have to do. They can do that. So the herbalist would wholeheartedly agree that it's not one or the other, but a cooperation. But where the herbalists say they are probably stronger at is they would say that they're better at the general health of a person. They'll manage their nutrition and their diet and everything else a whole lot better than a conventional doctor or an allopathic doctor. Now, this is a loaded argument, and one must say, how can they make that claim? I mean, if the doctors are so much better at A&E and all sorts of other things, and emergencies, what will make general health so much better by a herbalist? And this is quite a loaded argument, and it sort of prompts you for further investigation, and that's the whole idea of me sort of studying this course, because quite frankly I haven't done so well under allopathic medicine. I'm sick, I've got diabetes, I've had it for about 9-10 years, and it really sort of gets you down. And my mental health was going. I started to lose my memory last year, and it was only through dietary changes and stuff like this that the allopathic doctors weren't really advising me very well. And I used to go on to these dietitians or nutritionists that would be saying, oh, you got to do this, and I think their advice was a little insufficient. So the important questions are there any shortcomings in conventional medicine? Now, I like to take a sort of more of a global view. I like to look at things from the top, and so did this course, which was quite nice, because they gave me the argument, and their argument was, you've got to have a look at the rising cost of healthcare and the increasing number of sick people. And when I look at the world, there certainly are more sick people now, getting sicker at younger ages than they ever were before. In fact, sickness is almost an epidemic. And so when we looked at the figures, and they gave us figures, in the UK they did a study, and they found that 1/3 of all deaths are from prescribed medicine. Now, that is quite shocking. 1/3. Now, the highest form of death was heart disease, the second was cancer, and the third was prescribed medicine. Now, prescribed medicine is this that your doctor gives you, and he says take these tablets because they will help. Now, that's quite significant, and it's quite sort of earth-shattering. It's very unnerving. And then they looked at the sort of total spends, both private and public. Now, they looked at the UK, and it was 9.4% of GDP for the UK. And that's quite a staggering amount, and that equates to about £2,350 per person per year. Now, if you're in the United States, you may think, well, maybe we're not that bad. Well, in fact, you're a whole lot worse. This is not funny, but I'm sort of giggling out of nervousness, I think, because it's 16.2% of the United States GDP. That is absolutely epic. And this equates to $7,201 per person per year. Now, this is very, very unsettling, and it's a very, very serious business, and it makes one quite angry to think that we're spending so much on healthcare. Now, there's a lot of things that can affect healthcare, and healthcare isn't an exact science. The medical authorities estimated that 80% of all diagnoses were wrong. Now, that may surprise you, but it doesn't really surprise me, because even the most diligent and knowledgeable doctors are human, and I think they do the best they can. And medicine is a very, very, very complicated science, especially when you consider all the side effects of the medicines and drugs that they've been giving you. Now, I know when I go to my local GP, they can't prescribe me herbal medicines because the NHS won't pay for it. They'll only pay for pharmaceutical drugs that they've authorized. And so, our doctors don't really be given an option of what they can prescribe. So, when you look at this and you say, well, what makes herbalism so much safer? And why should a person take more responsibility of their health when even the trained professionals get it wrong 80% of the time? Well, that is a loaded question, and I think it deserves a very educated or very convincing argument, because I'm not a professional. But I do know my health is in very poor state, and I am rather desperate to see if I can cure, or not even cure, but I think diabetes is not something you can cure, but I can support my, I can change things and knock it into some remission. So what did they have to say? This course says they offer a body system approach, which is a two-step process. Now, step one is they make an evaluation to determine your weakest body system. Now, body systems are things like your respiratory system, your digestive tract, your immune system, your muscular system, your skeletal system, and a few others. So they will evaluate that, and they'll find out which is the weakest, or which are the weakest ones that need support. And then they will recommend and suggest sort of nutritional supplements that you can have, or lifestyle changes, or, and by lifestyle changes, I mean, maybe a little bit of exercise, changing your diet of things that you should eat and things that you shouldn't eat. And they will recommend these to support those systems and say, well, if you do this, that'll help this system. And then they'll wait a few months, like 4 months or something, and then they'll come back and they'll repeat the same process and see if there's any changes. And they can then make sort of modifications to their suggestions. Now, this is a pretty safe system. I think, and they carry on to say then that this body system approach is part of what they call an ABC plus D approach. Now, the A stands for activate, B stands for build, C stands for cleanse, and D stands for direct aid. And by doing this, designs you a personalized nutritional support program. Now, this body system approach is absolutely safe. It's perfectly legal, and it's ethical for lay people to use. Now, that was just up my street, because nothing they've said is I'm going to be using stuff that could harm me. I'm going to be using herbs that I can eat, I can add, I can use nutritional supplements, vitamin A, B, D, D3 and stuff like this, and your vitamin Ks and the added trace minerals that you need, but these can all be found in your plants. So I'm very, very happy with this. But they say, just remember, a herbalist doesn't diagnose, he doesn't promise a cure, he doesn't misrepresent a herb or a nutritional product as a treatment for a specific condition, because they are only concerned with supporting your body to heal itself. So anyway, that was the introduction, and I was very delighted to read this, because it sort of set aside a lot of my fears that I was really concerned of. And I thank you for listening, and I hope you enjoyed the talk, and I look forward to telling you all about lesson 2. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.